的生命体人間。君たちの言葉で自ら命を絶つことを自殺というらしい。なぜそんな行為が存在するのか、なぜ君が自殺をしてしまったのか、僕にはわからない。でもわからないから聞きたい。静香ちゃん、君に明日こそ笑ってもらえるよ。
Episode 1 was something unexpected. Even though the trailer gave that depressing vibe, even though there was a source material behind it, nothing would have prepared me on watching something this unfiltered or something so real. The amount of discussion, character depth, writing, adaptation, visual perfection, and everything above, even if Summer 2025 was this stacked, I wouldn't expect it to be this show. It's not Dandadan, Summer Hikaru, Dress Up Darling, Silent Witch, City the Animation, Kaoruhana, Rent-A-Girl. Sorry, it's not any of them. It's Takopi Original Sin. The amount of discussion that this show has, whether it's controversial or not, it definitely resonates with a lot of people that had the same issue. Episode 1 gave you that depressing feeling and shock value that's amazing. Shock values can ruin these type of shows if you don't execute it right, but from the start it's already giving you hints on what the situation the characters have right now. Not going with the pack, beaten up looking backpack with not very nice languages. It's perfect visual storytelling that complements the overall vibe that this show wants to have, and episode 2 and 3 is more about the route that the story is going, which is great. I think the content and visual presentation that this show has is so amazing that both works. Nothing is being overshadowed. The overall adaptation is a masterpiece. I've already discussed this quite a lot on my Twitter because I had to cope and take a bit of a break since I did upload for 3 days for Anime Expo. So, pan the back from my past self, so scripting it is easier. While the gorgeous production is something to be highlighted, the most important aspect of the show that made people talk about it and just made this show overall so popular, in a sense, the content. The story is about bullying and depression. Amazing, right? Shizuka is the main character, although Takopi is probably the main character, but she's the main focus. Shizuka is your normal 4th grader that has a lot of stuff going on. Bullying, bad, desperate parents, depression, everything. But the twist, I guess you can say, is with this pink little creature called Takopi. Sorry, I'm not a dumb American. This octopus looking thing has stuff called happy gadgets. It's just a variation of different tools that has powers. It's like Doraemon, I don't know. He's from the happy planet and he was tasked to make stuff happy, I guess. But the most pivotal thing that I think makes this character interesting for the story is the level of innocence and density. Takopi just doesn't know anything because he's from another planet. He just landed and crashed on Planet 3 Earth. The stark contrast between Takopi and Shizuka's character is interesting, which can make Shizuka's depressing stuff hit you more. Everything operates differently on his planet, so having Takopi as another perspective on everything that's happening is such a brilliant idea. It's like when we were kids having these mindsets like, why do people off themselves? Why do they do that? That's really what Takopi was wondering about that in the first episode. And slowly he kind of understands, but his mind is still very not there in reality. The People's Champion, okay, I can't say that. Marina is the villain for the show, although for a bit. She's the person that bullies Shizuka, and the show does it so well to actually give depth for these characters' intention. Basically, Marina's mom and dad is going through it. I don't know why they haven't divorced yet, but dad is having some kind of affair with Shizuka's mom, who's an escort. I don't know if they had sex or not, but it's shitty behavior. Everything started to go downhill, then Marina decides to bully Shizuka because of her mother's relation with her dad. I feel like Marina is just doing this as a coping mechanism to, I guess, release her anger. So someone that is attached to her family, although Shizuka is not involved in the slightest because she's probably afraid of mom and dad, so she can't do anything, and since she's a dumb kid, the bullying started, and with her friends enabling her more doing this because maybe that gives off some type of attention, that's why it escalated that quickly. With all the drama going on, I want to give my take on Marina because I don't know, opinions. You guys love hearing my opinions, right? Right? I do have my reactions for Takopi, although I didn't react to episode 1 because I didn't expect it to be that good. But you have to sub so you can see the VODs because I'm a greedy motherfucker. I don't want to ramble too much because I want to focus on the production side because there hasn't been a video about that yet, from what I know. Listen, did Marina deserve it? Yes. Kinda. 80%. But is this morally wrong? Yes. But still, the amount of stuff that Shizuka had to go through because of Marina is just... she shouldn't have experienced this. But the author wrote it so well that there's consequences with Marina doing this down the line. Maybe Shizuka becomes a bad person, manipulating and maybe killing. And I love that the author got rid of the escape card, which is the camera thing. The adults are at fault. The teachers are ignoring this because they only care about the money and being blinded that finishing college can get you something. And most importantly, the parents. I don't get the consumptions that people think parents can't influence their kid behaviors like that. Parents are probably the people that are always with you from the beginning. If you don't have shitty parents, parents and friends can influence you to do something that's not right, and they are the ones to be blamed at, especially that fucking deadbeat ass dad. Marina knows words like slut because of her parents fighting probably. It is not all the parents' fault, but they are a big contribution. Yes, Marina knows what the fuck she's doing. She planned to get Shizuka's dog euthanized with her obvious plan of riling up the dog so it can bite her. But still, kids can't think to themselves. They get influenced by people that's close to them. When I was a kid, I was hella scared getting in trouble. I was a good boy. Not in that way though. I cared too much about grades because the people surrounding me and everything, but now I can think by myself. I don't give a fuck about grades anymore because I learned about life. I can make my own decisions what I want to do in the future. I'm depressed because I can think by myself. As dumb as that sound. Although, still, I can't win an Ura finale with Special Week. How the fuck do you do that? How much stamina do you need? Should I focus my legacy on speed or stamina? Sorry. And etc. Of course kids knows what's wrong or right, but if the people surrounding them are not the best people, then yeah, I've never been bullied before, so I wouldn't know. I mean, that one time in 7th grade I was being pushed around to the point that I cried outside of the school because I don't want to go to school. But in my head, still to this day, I don't think that's bullying. I hated the people. They also broke my phone because they lost to a 1v1 with me. Fucking loser. Basically, the parents are at fault, but not fully. The adults fucking suck in this anime. Not because they're bad-written characters, that's just how the author wants them to be. A fucking brainless retards. We'll see if Shizuka becomes this bad person if people will have the same reaction if you go to that route, and that's my rant. Production time. This anime looks really fucking good. I'm not just talking about the overall character acting animation, it's everything else. The aesthetic, design, direction, music, but this is their first actual anime. Who is this Anastasia Enishiya studio? Enishiya has been steadily growing their connection with Kei Igarashi as the animation producer. They have been producing high-profile music videos and subcontracted work like outsource episodes for Freerun episode 14, Dungeon Meshi episode 6, and Do It Yourself episode 5. These MVs have their own talented director on it, which is already amazing considering they are a pretty new studio. Takopi's director and Sears composition, basically meaning scriptwriter, Shinya Ino and character designer Keita Nagahara are currently working in Enishiya. This is pretty evident considering they've also directed some of the MVs and also the outsourced episodes, while the art director and compositing artist is an in-house staff too, or just have very good connections with the studio. Although Anime Kei Igarashi's connections is very strong, having people like Moang and Ren Onodera directing stuff. Onodera did the opening and probably was the one that got William Jiang in the opening too. And Moang with episode 2. These people have previously worked on the MVs and outsourced episodes, so you get the gist. And then you have other young talents like Tentoten, An Nakai as prop design for even more connections. These are very new ones, started in the industry with Chainsaw Man, and the other one Onimai. Although Mushoku Tensei was his first contribution, he only did like second key animation and in betweening, so nothing noteworthy, but in Onimai, he did a lot. It always amazed me when an anime can really utilize everything in this medium. It looks different compared to other animes. The aesthetic really comes from the roughness of the design philosophy. The line work pops. It feels very unfiltered in terms of the comp on the design. Keita Nagahara's design is very cutesy and simple, but mixed really well with the overall dark tone because of how detailed the cloth folds and, more importantly, the amount of lines on the faces to give that eerie and rough nature to it. It goes really well with the animation / movement. It's a very simple design that a lot of animators can be very flexible with their own style, and the movement elevates the adaptation. The climactic scenes really showed how disturbing everything is because of the realistic character acting that complements it amazingly. But the direction is absolute cinema. I really should have paid more attention to this project more before it was released, but from the staff list and the director, I really didn't see anything crazy about it. Maybe being assistant director for Made in Abyss is good, but director for Dr. Stone, there's just a stark difference with the overall quality and cohesiveness in Takopi compared to Dr. Stone, which, from what I remember, the direction is just average at best. Episode 1 by Shinya Ino created the blueprint on how the show will look, with a high ass bar of animation power, with also the surrounding that really has that dark and depressing tone. The art direction is amazing with a lesser vibrant color palette, but sometimes making the background feel very bright, but a complete stark difference with the emotion that the character is feeling. It's a visual depiction that has more layers, if that makes sense. As I've said, the surrounding doesn't just mean the background, but the prop design. Tentoten and An Ankai is in this role, and the detailed design that depicts Shizuka's bullying situation with the beat up props, and you can see it more with Shizuka's place where everything is just messy because the parents is basically absent and Shizuka herself is depressed. I mean, some of you know if you've been depressed before, that leads to you not wanting to do anything and just lying in bed. And this is consistent with the other episodes. Moang and Eddie Idei's episode looks the same, but of course these are not your average directors, so they have their own flair. Moang with his absolute stellar transitions and does a lot of animation direction in terms of correcting the movement to give that more detailed, realistic animation, just like what he did with Apothecary Diaries episode 4. And he also liked my tweet and some of the animators. That upped my ego for like 2 hours. Then Waguri doing jumping jack, and Idei's episode with a more focus on POV shots or placing the camera on the perspective of the characters. The more distorted boards give more emphasis on the character's action. Another thing is, I love how this show mixed the depressing tone with a happier tone, if you know what I mean. Like that time Takopi copying Marina with her situation, and the OSTs have this go-lucky but eerie sounding to it that makes the sadder moments feel happy. And it's absolutely crazy the content that this show covers, with a lot of layers in the different emotions with the characters. It's crazy how well they do it. I really want to highlight a lot of scenes that was structured so uniquely with the direction that they did, but one of the best aspects in the show is the audio direction. It's perfect with every scenario, how the music sometimes shifts to a more depressing, dark sounding OST, but again, the music hits you different. It's perfect with every tone, and sound effects comes to play also. When a scene is more reliant on sound effects, not OSTs, it needs to be loud and it needs to hit you, and it's something amazing to execute. I'm not saying like you need fucking pots and pans sounding like this one. That's just not good. Something that they also pull off really well is the voice acting. Takopi, a very cutesy sounding person that's not realistic compared to the humans because that's how his character is portrayed. I compliment this part because most animes sometimes have this PG dialoguing or tone to it, like thinking out loud. Not Kumiko thinking out loud because that's her thing. Watch Ibiki Phonia. Or maybe like, I don't know, laughing when things are not funny. Listen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I fucking love when animes feel realistic, when it's people actually talking to each other It's something very hard to grasp, but it's something very good. It could be because it has good dialogue or audio direction to the VA, like Makeine, Evanescent Shadow, a lot of Takomi Kanasaki's work. He has nailed this every anime that he directed, or just being the chief director. He knows how to do it. Sometimes he's also the scriptwriter and the sound director for the shows, like Pre-Connect Season 2 or Silent Witch. While there's still a lot of stuff that could be discussed, this is an overview of how brilliant this adaptation is and the content. There's a lot of discussion to be had, and the staff is getting the proper time to actually make the anime since it's also only 6 episodes long. I don't want to make this video any longer. If you want to see my reaction for Takopi, go to Twitch, although episode 1 is not there because I forgot, or I make threads on Twitter for every episode. If you don't have Twitter right now, please don't make a Twitter. Don't go there. If you guys like this video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a like. Comment down below what are your thoughts on the Takopi anime. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time.